When someone talks about the greatest inventors in the world, people will likely bring up names such as Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, and Steve Jobs. However, there is one person who is not mentioned as much as he should be: Nikola Tesla. He is the reason why we can turn on the lights whenever we want to, and why we are able to use countless electronic devices. So who is Nikola Tesla? How has he changed our world? If you want to find out more about this brilliant yet lonely genius, stay tuned until the end of this video. Tesla was born in modern-day Croatia in 1856. Even when he was young, everyone could see how special he was. For example, when he was just 4 years old, he drew a picture of a flying machine and told his parents that he was going to build it someday. And when he was 12, he read an entire book about mathematics. This impressed his family so much that they decided to send him to a prestigious high school in Austria, where he graduated in 1875. He wanted to continue his education and become a professor. However, his father wasn't able to pay for his tuition. So Tesla got a job working for his father while continuing to study at night. One day, his father approached him and asked why he spent more time studying than working. When Tesla explained that he had been accepted to a university in Graz, his father decided to let him finish his studies. In university, Tesla specialized in electrical engineering. He was exceptional, earning straight A's and graduating near the top of his class. Although his career as a student was bright and successful, he had a hard time financially. After receiving his degree, he took on several different jobs, including being a draftsman. It was during this time that he met a man named Charles Batchelor, who would have an impact on the direction of his life. Batchelor was an inventor and engineer working for Thomas Edison in Paris. He was interested in developing an induction motor, but he struggled to make it work. After hearing about Tesla's knowledge in electromagnetics, he offered Tesla a job working for Edison. Not long after, Tesla moved to the United States with only $13 in his pocket. He would later say that he was willing to work for free just to get the chance to work with Edison. However, Edison felt differently. Though he hired Tesla, he gave him menial tasks and paid him very little. After working there for 8 months, Tesla quit. He had learned a lot, but he felt that he was wasting his talents. So he started his own company and worked on new inventions. This is when he began to develop his alternating current system. At the time, the majority of electrical engineers preferred direct current. It was simpler and operated in only one direction, but there was a major problem. As the current traveled along a wire, its voltage would drop over long distances. This meant that power plants would need to be built close to consumers to provide enough energy. On the other hand, Tesla's alternating current could change directions multiple times per second. Not only did this allow for power plants to be farther away from consumers, but it also enabled transformers to increase or decrease voltage, further extending the distance. Even though his system was more efficient, banks and investors were hesitant to support Tesla's idea, since Edison was a well-known and trusted figure. However, one man named George Westinghouse saw the potential of AC and purchased the rights to Tesla's patents. Together, Tesla and Westinghouse competed against Edison in what became known as the War of Currents. Since Edison was such a well-known figure, he had an advantage. Many people, including some scientists, firmly believed that AC was too dangerous and unpredictable to be used. To make matters worse, Tesla didn't help his case by making some bold claims. He stated that his motors were so safe that a person could put his hand inside them and be unharmed. Then he proceeded to prove it by putting his hand inside one. Although it didn't hurt him, doing something so reckless earned him the nickname Madman Tesla. Yet he continued to persevere, working tirelessly on new projects. In 1888, he successfully demonstrated a hydroelectric power plant at Niagara Falls. Using ACE, he transmitted 150 amps of current and 110 volts at a distance of 25 miles, proving that his system was more efficient. Finally, the world was ready to accept his invention. But Tesla was not done yet. He continued to invent throughout his lifetime. One of his most important inventions was the Tesla coil, which is still used today in radios and televisions. Unfortunately, he didn't receive the credit that he deserved for many of his inventions. For example, he invented the remote control, but history credits another inventor with the discovery. This is because Tesla was not good at promoting himself, and sometimes his inventions were unpractical or didn't work out the way that he wanted them to. The most notable of these failures was the Wardenclyffe Tower, which he began construction on in 19... The main purpose of the tower was to transmit messages wirelessly across long distances. In fact, Tesla believed that his system would eventually allow for people to communicate with each other from any location on Earth. He also thought that he could use it to transmit power without wires. At the time, this was revolutionary. Imagine a world without any plugs or batteries. You could simply charge your devices using wireless energy. But unfortunately, Tesla's dream never became a reality. You see, the tower required a lot of money. After spending around $150,000, Tesla went to JP Morgan and asked for more funds. However, Morgan refused, claiming that he couldn't invest in a project with unlimited expenses. Tesla tried to persuade him, saying that he could eventually charge people for the wireless energy that they used. Morgan responded by asking, "If anyone can draw on the power, where do we put the meter?" This was a fair question, since there was no way to track how much energy each individual was using. Without a way to monetize the project, Morgan refused to fund it. This devastated Tesla. He felt that he had failed to achieve his greatest goal. During the last years of his life, Tesla grew increasingly reclusive. He moved from New York to a hotel in Upper Manhattan. Eventually, his health began to decline. He suffered from arthritis and other ailments, and he spent most of his days alone in his room. People began to think that he was crazy. He talked about building great machines that could destroy entire armies from miles away. He also spoke of splitting the earth in half using his death ray. Most people didn't believe him, but the US government was concerned enough to launch an investigation. They wanted to know if Tesla was actually building weapons that could cause the end of the world. Ultimately, they concluded that he was harmless and mad. In 1943, Tesla died from a stroke. He passed away without realizing that he was one of the most influential inventors of the modern age. It wasn't until decades later that the world realized the importance of his inventions. Today, he is finally getting the credit that he deserves. We can turn on lights and appliances in our homes thanks to his alternating current system. We can listen to music, watch television, and talk to people across the world because of his contributions to radio. And we can drive long distances safely thanks to his induction motor, which powers the wheels of electric cars. However, Tesla was more than just an inventor. He was a visionary who dreamed of a better world. He wanted to create systems that would bring clean energy to every home. He believed that his death ray could end wars, and he thought that his wireless transmission system would allow for instant communication anywhere in the world. Sadly, he didn't live to see many of his inventions become a reality, but his spirit lives on in the countless innovators who are pushing the boundaries of science and technology. Just as Tesla dared to dream big, so too must we if we want to create a better future for ourselves and for the world. Thanks for watching. What's your favorite invention by Nikola Tesla? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe Studio Einstein. We appreciate you. Please like my channel, and thank you for watching.